fellow travelers. Today I have a little DIY project for you. I'm talking about a mini travel first aid kit. It's something that you should be taking on every trip with you because you just never know when it's going to come in handy. But you can keep it small, something that will get you through a situation till you can get to a pharmacy and pick up something more. And best of all, it's probably a project that you can do with things you already have at home. You shouldn't have to go out and buy anything. Well, at least I didn't when I was putting this together. So let's go ahead and get started on our do-it-yourself mini travel first aid kit. The best part about making your own first aid kit is that you can tailor it specifically to your individual needs. There are a lot of cute first aid kits available for sale either in stores or online, and that's certainly an easy option. But when you do it yourself, you can throw those things in there that you know you're going to need that you're most likely going to need. I keep 12 things in my first aid kit, which seems like a lot, but I assure you, I keep small amounts and it can fit in many small packages. So the first thing I always pack are 2 or 3 bandages. These come in mostly handy for blisters, but sometimes you get a cut or something else. I have never needed more than this, and I feel like if I need more than this, I can go buy some. But just to have one on hand in case something goes wrong is great. The other thing I do try to keep a little bit in is moleskin, again, for the blisters. You do a lot of walking when you travel, and moleskin is quite handy. I also keep at least one alcohol wipe to clean up a situation if I get a cut. I'm usually pretty glad to have this on hand, although I haven't had to use it very often. Next, of course, you're going to want a little ointment, like a Neosporin. I like these little packages because it's just enough, usually, to tide you through if you get some sort of cut or infection. You clean it up, put the ointment on, put the bandage on. Good to go. Next is a little itch relief cream. I find this useful in countries with biting bugs, which a lot of them do. So I like to have this. There was a time in my life when I did not have this. It was not a good situation. We were not close to a pharmacy. We resorted to some home remedies and just didn't get the job done. So now I always carry this. In terms of medication, really about the only thing I use is a pain reliever for headaches or anything. I prefer ibuprofen, so I usually pack about 6 of those. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. And now would be a good time to discuss repackaging. You can find medications in these prepackaged, and that's nice because they have the instructions on there for you, but it's usually just 1 dose. You can pick these up oftentimes at convenience stores or different places, and this is a good option. I find it just as easy to repackage because then I can add more or less, and I do have these cute little bags that I'd already had at home. But the important thing is, though, you'll want to write down what the pills are and then some directions as well if you do that. So anyway, pain relievers. Next, I always try to carry a couple of allergy pills. You kind of never know when you might get hit with something you're allergic to that you weren't aware of, so it's good to have some of that. If you find yourself in a situation where you're really allergic to something, you'll have to go buy some more, but this'll get you through usually. Anti-diarrhea pills. You just need these when you travel, let's face it. If anything's going to happen to you, it's probably going to be something that you're going to need these for. So again, if you find yourself reacting to the food or the water, you're probably going to need more than this, but you're going to be real happy that you had a couple when symptoms start. I also pack a few sleeping pills. I know that I'm going to take some usually on the flight, on any sort of overnight flight. Then I also have a couple left over just in case I'm staying at a place that's maybe pretty loud, or I don't know, just been having a hard time sleeping, but I know I need a good night's sleep. So I always take sleeping pills. Remember when I chatted about specific to your needs? So unfortunately, I do tend to get some heartburn, and so I always make sure to pack an acid of some sort, some Tums in my bag or something. So this always goes in my kit, but it's not necessarily useful for everyone. I also like to pack at least one cold cold, flu, sinus medication, just in case you get hit with that cold. Again, if it's going to last a few days, you'll have to go get more, but you'll be prepared for that first. And I do like to pack a couple of cough drops. I find oftentimes your throat will just get kind of scratchy or sore. Maybe you're not getting enough water. So I like to have these in. And if you start coughing, you'll be real glad that you have them. So those are the 12 things that go into my personal first aid kit. Okay, so now let's talk about what to put all of this stuff in. And this is where the DIY part really comes in handy. I was shocked at the amount of things that would work for a first aid kit when I started wandering around my house. I've really just been throwing it into the same little bag for years. There were lots of options. I found this tin in my craft supplies, and it's perfect. But if you didn't have necessarily a tin sitting around, you might have one for some Altoids or some Sucrets, and these actually have hinged lids, and they make a real great size for do-it-yourself. Used empty prescription bottles. These are from my dad, 2 different sizes. This one is particularly mini, so you might have to condense some of your stuff. This one you could put more in, actually. So good options here, and as you can see, I put some little labels on there, which I will tell you about later. My friend R has just been packing hers around in a plastic baggie for years. So this is a slightly smaller one with a label on the front. It all just goes in there real easy. Plus you can kind of see it. If you're digging around for something, you can see it in there. Zippered pouches. I had a few of these at the old house, but you can get like pencil cases, makeup cases, and they make good little kits for it. I also had this drawstring bag. Very plain, so I went ahead and painted in red and gold a little symbol on it for the first aid, and it made what was just kind of a plain, boring drawstring bag nice and cute. I also dug around and found some plastic containers that I didn't even know I had for different things, and either one of these would make a great little option. The other thing I thought of would be to use a bandana. You could just wrap everything in it and then kind of tie it up, and the bandana itself could potentially come in real handy while you're on the road. I use these quite a bit. And then the last option, of course, in the spirit of do-it-yourself, was to actually make one. I myself can't sew, but if you could, sew some sort of cute little pouch. This I made from felt and some thread and some leather, and just kind of made a little pouch out of it, fold it over, and tie it up with some leather, and so it's kind of adorable. So any one of these makes a great option to put your first aid items into and carry it around. It kind of just depends on what size you like, if you'd rather have something flat or something round, depending on how you want to do it, or something a bit more adjustable, disposable. You get a new one of these. The other thing that I will share with you guys, if you head on over to the blog, which I will put a link in the notes, I have supplied a couple free printables that you can download. One is labels that pretty much fit on an Avery template. You might have to do a little trimming, but it's 5 different colors, 2 different templates, and so if you print them on the template, you can just peel them off and stick them on whatever your container is. Or you could put them on like a full sheet label and trim, or you can just print them out on paper and glue, tape, DIY, so you can do whatever you want with it. As you can see, like this one I cut around it to add it to there, and then these others I just peeled and put on. So there's that one, and then there is also a printable checklist for the first aid kit, so that you can go through and check off and then add your own things, again, because it's very customizable. Well, there you have it, some basic instructions for how to make your own mini travel first aid kit. I hope it's been useful. Again, head on over to the blog if you want a free printable of these adorable little first aid kit labels to put onto your first aid kit that you're going to make. Simple, easy, expandable, flexible, whatever you need. Please, if you liked this video or found it helpful, like it, go ahead and subscribe, and we will see you again next week.